Hey, today I'm gonna show you all the movements of the hip, the knee, and the ankle, which are parts of the lower limb. So we're starting with the hip. The hip, you have six types of movement. The first one, which I'm gonna show you, is flexion, which is doing this with your hip. You can also run this angle. And then you have extension, which is just coming back. So flexion and extension. In the knee, in the hip. So the hip, you also have abduction, which is going outward, so you're going this, abduction, and you have adduction, which is returning to its regular position. So abduction and adduction. And then the last movement of the hip is the lateral and the medial rotation. So I'm gonna show you a little that's to show you. You can see the hips like this, and then you're doing this way inwards is the lateral rotation. So lateral rotation, and then you have the medial rotation, which is this way. Lateral, inwards, medial, outwards. Lateral, medial. Those are the 6 movements of the hip. Then you have the knee. You have 4 movements of the knee. And then I could show you in different ways. I will show you first. So you have flexion. Your knee is flexing. And then you have extension. I can also show you the flexion extension while seated. So here it's flexed. You see, the knee is flexed, and then you're extending it. Flexion, extension, flexion, extension. And then you also have, similar to what we have on the hip, you have medial and lateral rotation. I'm going to put the camera a little bit lower so that you can see. Actually put it on the ground so that you can see. So when your foot is going this way, it's the same logic as the hip. So that's medial, outwards, and then lateral, you're going inwards, medial, outwards, lateral, inwards. And then we also have the ankle movements. I'm gonna put the camera here, you can see better. So you start with dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, and you also have eversion and inversion. So the plantar flexion is going like this. Plantar flexion, your heels is up, your fingers touching the ground. So that's plantar flexion. And then dorsiflexion is the inverse of that. Your heels are on the ground and your toes are going up. Dorsi, plantar, dorsi, plantar. Then we also have the eversion and the inversion. So the eversion, the little toe is up, which means your big toe is on the ground. So your foot's doing like this. Big toe on the ground, little toe up. And then the eversion is the opposite. Your big toe is up, and your little toe is on the ground. Eversion, inversion. That's all the movements of the hip, the knee, and the ankle.